Hi, everyone. Paul for another episode of our Plot Shots and Slots series. He's our intensive case manager at Cason, and we're going to talk to him a little bit today about our ASH program. So, Paul, thank you for coming on today. Really appreciate your support in
No
the
problem.
series.
Glad to be here.
Awesome. So, what is ASH?
Well, ASH stands for Addictive Supportive Housing, and it's a program. It's probably 11 years now that it's been in existence, and it's for people that have completed treatment. They've kind of got the tool bag full of all the tools that they need, uh, but they just need some help as far as making sure that when they're back into the community, some of them are back to work, that they're using those tools. So we meet with the clients twice a week. We have 40 units across, mostly in St. Catharines and Thorold.
Wow.
And so we meet with our clients twice a week, and it's kind of doing all the other work. We often say that there's an 80% and 20%. 20% is the actual addiction work, and then 80% is the life skills. So things like working on relationships, budgeting, mental health things like anxiety and depression, helping them reconnect if they don't have a family doctor, getting to the dentist, uh, just getting back into the swing of life again with some support. But the reality is they are actually on their own for a good part of the time, and they just have us to check in with twice a week in order to make sure that the ship is sailing in the right direction.
Right. But they do have that intensive um, support from your
Yeah,
team. How many people do we have on our ASH team?
there's 5 intensive case managers, and we carry a caseload of 8 individuals. Then we usually have 1 or 2 that are in what's called pre-ASH, which are the ones that are getting ready to move into the program. And then we also have what's called post-ASH. It's not a requirement, but for some of our clients, they need just a little bit of extra help once they've transitioned out. And we often do that maybe for 2 months. We might see them once every 2 weeks, just to help with the transition moving from ASH out on into their own apartment.
Wow, that's great. So, how have things changed with everything that's going on with COVID right now? Does that make it look a little bit different in the ash landscape?
Initially, very much so, because we weren't able to go into the homes. So we were doing everything virtually, very similar to what we're doing now. So we would be meeting with the client just instead of face to face over the computer. The struggle that we were having is because it's a housing program. A lot of what I'm doing is, yes, I'm meeting the client in the apartment, but I'm also seeing how their apartment looks, and it's a really good indication of how they're doing. So if I show up and the place is typically very well kept, and now the dishes aren't done and the place is, it's a good indication that they're struggling.
Right,
Uh, and so we were really finding we were missing a big part of what it is that we do.
right.
And we had a couple clients that were really struggling, and I think that was across the board
Mhm.
with the changes that have happened with COVID. But now we are back seeing them in their home. We do a screening before we go out, just to make sure that they're healthy and that we're healthy. The big one is that we're keeping our social distance. So I often, if I'm going to be meeting with a client, I have my mask on, and so do they, until we get to where we're sitting. With the summer being the way it is, I've done a lot of backyard appointments,
Yeah,
which has been great. We've been able to have the social distance, so we can still have a fairly normal session, even though it's outside under a tree.
yeah,
And the clients seem to be responding much, much better to that.
Yes, nature. I mean, there's nothing than having a meeting in nature, so that's
Yeah,
great.
and it still provides confidentiality and those sorts of things. So I think we've adapted, and our clients have adapted really quite well, kind of
Yeah.
along with us.
Yeah, and Cason's really had not, very minimal service disruption throughout COVID. So it's just been so much of everybody working together and everybody adapting to still provide those services, which has been really great. Well, Paul, thank you. When I first started at Cason about 4 years ago, I had the pleasure of going out with you and spending some time in some of our ash houses, and it was a really great experience. But the one thing I took away was how you communicate with people. And I know that you've been with Cason quite a while, but you communicate at such a deep level with our clients, and you really have their best interests at heart, and that comes across in everything that you do. So thank you so much for that.
Well, thank you, Marnie, and this has been a pleasure.
Okay, have a great day.
Yeah, you too.